Hello, guys. We started tonight with our conversation about assembling a winning team. Clarissa is on. Yay. Let me grab her. Hello, everyone coming on. Hello.
Hello. Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday, everybody. You guys, this is episode 20 of CEO Sister Talk. I couldn't believe it. I was like, how the heck did we get to episode 20 already, guys?
Moving and shaking.
Moving and shaking. I just sent you a text, Clarissa, that is going to tickle you to pieces. You probably are on your phone right now. You can see it when we get off. Anyway, guys, listen. We're going to have a great conversation tonight around assembling a winning team.
I just saw your message. Yes. Yes.
Assembling a winning team. Good evening, Miss Thomas. Good evening, Mrs. Pope. Sunshine number one. Welcome. Welcome, everybody. Debbie in Houston, I see you, Love Bug. Hey, honey.
Hi.
Shay the MUA. All my Houston girls in the house tonight. Hey, guys. All right, Clarissa. CEO Sister. We are talking about assembling winning teams.
Yes.
How to assemble a winning team tonight on CEO Sister Talk. What's your first thought as we open up tonight when it comes to assembling a winning team? What's off the top of the dome? Just what you got?
Well, first of all, hi, Mr. Mr. 1204. That's my long time. Known him since I was all of 5 years old. So, hey, we've been long time friends. Hey there. Okay, so building a winning team is number one essential, but the first thing that comes to my mind is company vision and purpose. Having harmony with everybody on the team, understanding and wanting to execute the mission that's been put forth by the founder or the visionary, and having a common goal to execute.
Okay.
Yeah.
Company vision, and say the second one again.
Everybody being in harmony to execute the company mission and the goal set forth by the visionary. Just a common goal to get to the same end goal.
So that would also incorporate company culture.
That's right.
It's going to incorporate mindset, posture, energy, how we show up, the energy and spirit of our customer service, the energy and spirit of how we engage. And that's really interesting because we're in the process of getting ready to hire new virtual staff, Clarissa, like a whole new round of virtual staff for customer service, for infrastructure, for Love Out Loud and Rebecca Lynn Pope courses and Abundant Life Coaching, all of this.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad you just said that because you made me stop and think about, because I don't think I have been thinking about my new virtual team members the same way that I'm thinking of my in-person team members.
And it's a very different, see, I'm glad you just said that because we have one of our staff members that works remotely from another country, and there's always that feeling of, oh my goodness, does she feel the changes we're making? Is she feeling the love of the culture? Is she feeling, because our on-ground staff, we do monthly team building exercises. So we physically go somewhere. We physically do things together as part of building and keeping our company culture up. And I'm like, oh, but our one team member who's somewhere else, it's been really a challenge, a welcome challenge to keep the culture going virtual. So that's something to talk about. Yeah.
That's something I'm going to have to keep in mind as we're building this out, because one of the things that that just came to my mind was making sure I implement communication around the stuff that would get communicated in the local or the in-person conversations. DC2ATL, Clarissa. That's the kind of stuff that needs to put into email form to get communicated to the virtual team members and the team members in other countries as well, because you want everybody on the same page.
That's right. That's right. So one of the foundational keys to building a good company culture and even learning how to vet the people that you hire is starting with your purpose in mind all the time. because sometimes as an entrepreneur, you want to hire people that you like, but they may not necessarily fit the purpose or contribute to forward moving purpose. So we have to be very careful to hire people that are in line with the purpose of what we're trying to accomplish. It's not always about what you like, it's about what needs to be done and who's the proper.
So true.
So yeah, that's
so true.
Mm-hmm.
I was, that brought to mind a conversation I had with one of my team members, one of my staff this past week, as we reflected on some of the staff changes over the years and people who have come and gone, and thinking about the personality like issues that I've run into in my hiring. Because FYI, we're getting ready to hire some new social media team members and event team members locally here in Atlanta. So anybody on here who is interested in that type of work, stay tuned because you'll see some posts from that. But you're so right, because we can hire based on personality without really getting to the heart or core of who someone is to make sure they're on board with the guiding principles and the goals of the bigger picture.
That's right.
Right. And I'll never forget one year, this was years ago, I had a team member that I had hired, and her credentials were amazing. Her resume was amazing. She was a personal assistant / event planner. So she came in at a time I was doing book launches, I was doing parties and events and retreats. And I just loved her. I just loved her. Like, I personally just loved her.
Yeah.
Thought she was amazing. She was so skilled. Her event planning, Clarissa, and design work for events was absolutely stellar. Yeah. And literally, all of a sudden I started noticing, people won't always come to you. Your other team members don't always want to tell on people. They don't want to be that person. So there's some things that can start to happen when you start to notice the energy, the dynamic, the synergies of things are shifting. And it took me a while to get to the root of it, that she was a mean girl.
Yeah. Yep.
That she had one face with me and a totally different heart posture and face outwardly to the other team members and to my clients and to my followers. Mm-hmm. And she was treating people crazy when I wasn't around.
And just think about this, because if you are to the point in your business where you're not at the office every single day like you used to be, or you're not like in the day-to-day every single day, it may take a little bit of time for you to even learn that the dynamic is shifting within the culture that you built and started, all based. One person can be very cancerous to a successful team. One person's attitude can change the vibe of the office to where, if it used to be bustling and everybody smiling and getting along, and now you walk in there and it's starkly quiet every time, it's like, what's wrong with everybody?
Crickets.
Yeah, if you hire based on, and see, sometimes people want to work with you because they just like you. They like you, the person who's hiring them, the founder of the company, because they followed you or they see what you've done over the years, and they don't really care to get along with the rest of the people on the team. So yeah, you have to be very careful starting with hiring people who are literally going toward the forward movement of your purpose and your culture. But I also allow my staff to have a hand in meeting the people when I'm interviewing someone. This is not I interview and I say who's coming to work here. I mean, I have the liberty to do so, but what sense does that make? This is a culture building. This is we are a service-based business. So our team has to be very synergistic. Our team has to get along, because there's an assembly line feel to everything we do too. This person feeds into that person's job. That person's job feeds into that, and that ultimately ends in the clients being happy and successful. So yeah, you have to really be careful.
Yeah, I've got 2 staff members right now lined up to actually help me with the interviewing when it comes to this next round of in-person hires that I've got 2 people lined up that are ready to help me do interviews, because they've been with me the longest for years. They know my voice, my vision, they know my energy, my spirit, they know my heart. So they're able to see and understand, what would work best in the bigger picture for these next chapters and next steps. I think one of the things that is absolutely crucial about building winning teams, Clarissa, that I've experienced is that you, as the leader, as the visionary,
Mm-hmm.
you have to be willing to let go of control. This is something that was a personal issue for me, that I realized I couldn't keep being a solopreneur,
Yep.
right? That I had to hire people and begin to hire more and more and more people. And one of the things that stuck out to me in my struggles is I have people on staff and I wasn't even handing over work to them, Clarissa.
Yep.
I was
Yep.
holding back from giving them work. And literally as I, let go of my baby, like, okay,
Yeah.
well, be careful, protect the baby, be gentle, and then I give it over and like, these people are better at doing this shit than me.
Yep.
And I'm
You just,
sitting back
yep.
like,
I should have done this earlier. You just hit on two pieces. Number one, to be able to give away your baby, there has to be trust established. So again, building a successful team means that there's a level of trust, not only that they'll carry the mission forward, but trust that they will actually do their jobs to the best of their ability.
right.
That's number one. Number two, what you do, what you were just explaining, all of us as entrepreneurs who were solopreneurs who had to hire 1, 2, 3, now you got 5 and 6, 7 people on the team, you had to give your baby away. You'll get out of that when you have 5 and 6 payroll cycles that went by and everybody got a full check and you still did all the work because you were hoarding the work. You cannot be mad at anybody on your team if they showed up and waited for you to give them stuff and you just didn't. Now it's your fault that you did not.
I'm over it.
Yeah.
When I tell you I've got no problem, listen, I am delegating to my master coaches. Yeah. I've been delegating more to my staff. God done healed me. When I say I've been delegating like a mug, because in this next season of my life, literally, ain't nobody got time for that. I can't be trying to do more than what I'm supposed to be doing, right? And it's like, you've got these wonderful people hired. We're hiring even more people. And it's like, no, Rebecca's gone. I told y'all for weeks now, I've been telling y'all, I'm in a different season of my life. I am in my ease and flow CEO life. I don't know about y'all, but that's my whole goals, ease and flow. And that means I'm going to have more staff than ever.
And nobody builds a business to do the same. When you own a business, we've said this before, you know how to do all the jobs because it's your business. You know how, but it's not smart after a certain period of time to continue to be the only person working. And you just said something that leads into the next point I wanted to make. You said sometimes they do things better than you were doing them. You have to embrace diversity, not just from the aesthetic standpoint of having people that look like you have an all-inclusive looking team, but it also includes diverse thinking, diverse creativity. There are people on my staff that are vastly different than me. I'm talking night and day, and I'm listening and I'm like, oh, that idea is actually amazing, but I would never, ever, 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 ever have done that on my own. Sometimes your people that you brought to the company literally see something differently than you do. They're removed from the emotional part of it. I had one of my staff members come in and, this doesn't make any sense. This right here doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, oh, dude, okay, elaborate. And it's like,
tell me more.
Efficient. Oh, wow, because they don't have I worked really hard to get this to this point. This is how it is. And it's like, well, you're adding 3 extra weeks to this process. You could totally have done this way. So you have to embrace diversity with thinking, diversity with creativity, diversity with processes. Sometimes you do something just because that's the way I've always done it. That's not always efficient or effective, nor is it's not fair to your team to do the whole my way or the highway approach. Like, if someone accomplishes something differently than you did, if that end result is as good as you would have gotten or better, you better embrace that, take it and be grateful and celebrate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Taryn XOXOXO says, how do you know when it's time to delegate when just starting out? My key to delegation, guys, is when someone, and right below Whitney says it's above your pay grade, right? This goes hand in hand. Sometimes you have to check your professional worth too. and this is my answer to that question. I knew it was time to delegate when there were activities that were revenue generating activities, things that I needed to be doing that kept the profit flowing and growing in my business. But I'm over here doing minutia
Yeah.
and small administrative type stuff that doesn't it isn't affecting the bottom line. It's important, it needs to get done, but if I wasn't doing those things, I could focus over here on sales and marketing. I could focus over here on next level planning, growth, vision, next steps, scaling, blah, blah, blah. And so that is what, Taryn, that's when I knew. I was like, it's time to delegate. I would say in most people's businesses, one of the first things you're going to need is a virtual assistant. If you are a solopreneur, right away, that's one of the most affordable people to hire to start managing administrative, office, back office, virtual stuff, customer service, emails, scheduling, booking, management of your calendar, all that stuff. There, you can hire part-time virtual consultant staff that's not a technical employee, but are contractors that you don't have to pay a lot of money. It's within your budget as a new entrepreneur, and this is beginning to take some of the load off.
And don't be afraid to bring people on per project. If you don't know that your bottom line can handle someone on staff permanently for a long period of time, but you have, like our firm, we have two types of clients. Clients that are on retainer, that are monthly clients, they pay every month, and we do work for them all day, every day. The other types of clients are the people that have an event. They only need us for one thing, but it may take 2 or 3 months to lead up to that thing and execute. Sometimes you bring people on just to execute that project. So we have our permanent staff, but then there are times where we have to bring someone on that has a high level of expertise, or someone who can manage very high functioning, that is not a permanent employee, but you bring them on to, like you said, contract for this particular period of time. So it's okay when you're in your business and you need to start delegating. Check your budget. If your budget allows for you to bring someone on for 2 weeks, like in the beginning, I had to do things. I was very transparent. Hey, need someone for 3 months for a project. I needed help getting stuff off my plate. I was overrun with things that needed to be written. I was overrun with things, too many things. So it's time to delegate when the business is getting bigger than you and you do not have enough hours in the day. Even if you use all 24 hours, you still don't have enough time to do all the things that your business is requesting at the time. So that's a good
Exactly. Whitney says $8 to $10 an hour, fair market rates for the Philippines. Yes, Whitney.
Yep.
Virtual, out of the country help, virtual help, definitely one of the most affordable options you can do. Fiverr.com, Fiverr.com, to go and get help with social media, get help with graphic design, get help with landing pages. You can go and hire contractors over there to do miscellaneous tasks for you. TaskRabbit.com, you can hire people to do tasks, to clean, to do certain things just by project. Guys, it's never been easier to hire very, very part-time, even short-term staff to help you grow your business in the projects like Clarissa's mentioning, by project even, not full-time, not even permanent roles. The second person I hired in my business was a social media manager. Guys, when it comes to social media marketing and needing to produce content every day to stay in front of your audience and to grow your audience, which means you have to be consistent with content. Consistency is a beast when you're running a whole entire company and trying to make money and stay profitable. So I think social media management and social media marketing, having a social media marketing manager is going to be dime for dime one of your best investments to get you a large return, especially if their graphic design and social media skills are good. You can look for those on Fiverr as well, or some of the sites in the Philippines as well to hire people. There's, of course, college students. Clarissa, you've talked to me about interns and college students for things like this.
Yeah. And you have to remember to, when you're hiring staff, especially when you're talking about your first, your second, your third hire, you have to be kind to your staff. You have to be very kind to anybody that you add to your team for several different reasons. If someone has joined your team and they're growing with the company, there's a very high chance that they're going to be doing a job that literally isn't the job they're hired to do. But because there's an all hands on deck feel to the environment, they do things above and beyond the call of duty. But when it comes time for you to hire someone to actually do one of those extra jobs that the person that's been with you has been doing, there's a feeling of, wait, why are you taking stuff off my plate? Why are you removing this from me? What's happening? What's happening? Oh, this new person is coming and taking this off my plate. Be kind to your staff, because just because now your company's making enough money, you can hire all the people. Don't forget that one person was doing 6 jobs while you were doing 12 jobs, and they were holding it down just like you were. So when you're growing your team, always be mindful of the people that were at the core. And there's a lot of transparency with the first line of staff that you have, just because they are with you when there's ups, downs, a client dropped, a project went awry, and you don't have all the big stuff in place to operate efficiently or figure it out, and everybody has to be all hands on deck. Stay kind and be accountable when it comes to your staff growing. Be accountable to the people that were already there, and be accountable to the new people coming in, that the culture stays the same and there's no animosity toward the new person for coming in and taking over a job and doing well at something that someone else was previously doing. We have some questions rolling in here too. Rebecca, do you see the questions?
I see always disclose roles are subject to change. That's good, Whitney. I love that. I didn't see any others that we missed. Oh, where to get a virtual assistant? Fiverr, Fiverr.com, or one of the Philippine hiring sites, or locally when it comes to college students, interns. I have posted inside of networking and branding Facebook groups, and that's where I got my first social media marketing manager. Was a college student in marketing. She was getting a marketing degree. She's in Canada.
Yeah.
She was with me for years.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, you definitely just start looking at all of the different ways to hire people, whether it's going to be remote workers or domestic. There's just so many different ways, but start studying and researching the best sites to hire people. It's literally Googleable YSA Valdez, that you can literally start looking for those sites.
We do have a staff member that works in our executive assistant. She's been with us for 2 years, and she is headquartered in the Philippines. And it's by far, someone mentioned the Philippines earlier. The market is wonderful. There's no breakdown in communication. Sometimes when working with people in other countries, there may be difficulties explaining the culture of certain things. Like, we work in entertainment, we work in food, we work in television. We have a lot of different areas, and I find that staff in the Philippines has a really close pulse on American life and American ways and things like that. And they're very adaptable. They have been very adaptable with hours, because there's a 12-hour time difference. You'll find that once you start to interview talent overseas, that they already work overnights to accommodate their clients, because the market is booming over there for them being.
My marketing and my media team are 20 employees, and 90% of them are also in the Philippines.
Yeah. Whitney mentioned to utilize AI. We are delving into AI. We just had a training maybe 2 weeks ago for our staff to kind of come current with some of the AI practices. So great point. Yes, we are bringing ourselves up to speed with that. Yes, ma'am. Let me see. Taryn XOXOXO asked, can you all talk about how you hold and keep staff accountable? Do they have metrics, KPIs, weekly touch bases, etc.? Yes. So there are a number of different ways to hold people accountable. Number one, by just setting expectations and doing weekly check-ins. When you get busy at your company, in the beginning, there's always, like, for us, we have weekly check-ins. What you got on your plate? What's going on? When I'm away from the office, quite often, we do have weekly reports that are supposed to be turned in, but we've been so busy, sometimes those weekly reports do not get turned in. I don't see them. But my staff and everyone on our team, including myself, we're in the habit of just keeping track of the things that we're doing. So in the event that there's a quick update needed, or we have a sit-down meeting, we have tried to get better with having a Monday meeting where everybody goes through their productivity from last week and what we're looking forward to this week. But yes, Weekly reports have worked for us, touch bases regularly with our senior staff, and definitely metrics in place that do change quarterly or yearly when evaluations go out.
I'm trying to make sure I didn't miss.
Mm-hmm.
SOPs, Whitney said SOPs.
Yep, that's right. That's right.
Yes. Onsite.ph, YSA Valdez, I think that's another Filipino site for Philippine overseas employees and contractors, onsite.ph, I think it's called. One of the things I was also just thinking about, Clarissa, that is important when it comes to building winning teams and the culture of teams is just really great communication skills as a leader. You know, when you are the manager, the managing partner, the CEO, whatever role it is you're playing, it's so important to recognize that your employees, your staff, your team, they're not inside of your head.
Yeah.
So guess what? They only know as vision keeps shifting, as you keep saying, we're going to move more towards this. I want to move out of this segment of industry and I'm going to focus over here. Well, they don't know that if you don't communicate that, right? They're still over here doing this and you're over here. And you're already shifted and then you're looking at them like, what are you doing? We don't want to do that anymore. And it's like, what? Yeah. Well, that was the last thing we knew. That was the last marching orders we had. So I've had to learn that I have to communicate and become a much more effective communicator. Now, for somebody who can tend to be an introverted, nerdy girl, I can tend to be in my own world, in my own head. And I've had to learn that, you know, I can't stay there to be an effective leader. I have to communicate. One of the other things I do is I check in on my employees the same way I would check in on friends. So I'm very intuitive. Someone keeps crossing my mind, something keeps coming across my spirit, my energy, or crossing my mind. What's going on with you? And I'll send a quick message on Slack. One of the tools we use for company communication is Slack. We're all on there. We're all on there as a team, individually. I can send a quick message on Slack. Say, hey, you keep crossing my mind. Everything okay? No, ma'am. No, ma'am. You know, like, you know, no, ma'am. No, Miss Rebecca, it's not, right? Like, and so sure enough, we'll get on the phone and have a quick, you know, check in to see what's going on. Because I think one of the things we also have to remember as leaders, guys, you know, it's not just like corporate America. Like, to me, there you go, Whitney. I'm a spirit-led CEO. Exactly. Like, this isn't, you know, Home Depot, corporate offices. Like, I want my staff and my employees, because guess what? If you're going through something personally, it's going to show up in your work. We don't like that as business owners, but that's the truth. And that's the reality, that these are human beings, right? These are not robots. And I think the more that we can care for our staff and team members, the more we can have a culture of caring and caring for one another. Because I want them to work at their best and I want them to be happy. And then to do so, you can't ignore the person.
Right.
Because people are people. They have stuff going on. You
have to lead by example when it comes to paying attention to your team. And here's the thing too. Sometimes we are so used to and happy with someone doing a great job at what they do, we forget to go back and elevate them. We forget to go back and say, actually, you are better suited for a promotion. I love what you're doing, but I need to foster this other part of you that deserves to grow as part of this company. Yeah. So the example, I don't want to be stunted in growth. I don't want my clientele to stay the same forever. I want to continuously elevate. So why would I think that my staff who's watching this elevation does not also want to elevate? You have to lead. If you're like you mentioned, if you're changing the vision or moving around, my staff has had to be so adaptable because I'm literally just like that. I'm like, okay, all right, we're done with this type of stuff. Okay, next. And it's like everyone on the team shifts, and I feel like I'm purposeful in my heart and I do everything with consideration. But there have been a bunch of times where we were on something on Monday and I'm like, Thursday, yep, nope, hate that whole thing. We're not done. We're doing it something different. And they're like very adaptable. And you have to be grateful when you have adaptable people on your team. Again,
Definitely.
successful people have the ability to adapt. Now, that doesn't mean they should be abused regularly by having to change everything all the time, but being adaptable, you need to look for that in people too, because if you have someone who's so pigeonholed, I can only do this, I can only do this one thing, that may be cool if they're the person who's on your IT team that just needs to sit in a room and look at servers all day. But if they're a person who interfaces with clientele and the clientele is changing, you have to be mindful that the people that are on your team are adaptable to different personalities, different industries, different tones, different types of situations being thrown their way. So yeah, leading by example and showing your staff how to manage and pivot is very helpful.
So one of the other things that I'm doing and have done, especially in this season of growth that we're in over here, is I promote from within.
Yes.
So one of the things for another aspect of winning teams, guys, is that your people need to know that you're first going to look at them for the new roles and the new opportunities as we continue to grow. My social media manager, who's been with me for years, I'm in conversations with her and meetings with her to say, listen, these new team members, I want you to manage them. You oversee their work. You're going to be going behind quality control, checking behind them as they're creating new newsletters and social media campaigns. She's the queen of this. She could do it in her sleep. Well, it's time to graduate to management. It's time for you to be over some people, to have, some response. I don't want to sit here and manage these people. Right? I don't have time to manage a whole new team of social media and personal assistants. It's like, no, these event team members, social media team members, and social media, personal assistant, executive assistants and things. It's like, no, I don't have time. I've got to take the people who have been with me for years and put them over these people, because we're in our next level of growth and recognizing, and then that gives them a level of excitement. It gives them a level of responsibility to keep growing and to be connected inside of the company. Whitney says it incentivizes people and gives a sense of ownership. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
And when you celebrate successes as a whole, everybody is happy to see the growth, because they see that the growth comes directly from the successes that you attained together. So when you have a win, it's not just my win, it's our win. Like, I am very intentional about everything being ours and everything being because of ours. And I'm quick to tell somebody, a client who's praising me about something, oh, that was actually Deja. That was Jaira. That was Bentley. That was actually someone else on the team who executed that thing that you just highlighted. So you have to make sure that love is spread and the successes are shared, because it could be really disheartening if you are one of those company leaders who takes credit for everything and you're always being praised and you never pay respect to the people who are actually keeping the company uplifted along with you. So yes, please celebrate successes as a whole. That fosters a really great and loving culture for your company too.
Most definitely. And then the other thing I was going to mention, Clarissa, that I know where I've made mistakes sometimes, is trying to plug people into roles I want them to be in versus where they're really a fit. And I think that we can't ignore the changing landscape of technology, guys, and how much this plays such a huge role in our businesses and in what we do day to day. More and more of it has become so technology driven. It has become so virtual, so much virtual work, that you need certain team members to have a very high IQ of it, have a very high intelligence quotient when it comes to these apps, when it comes to the technology, when it comes to the social media platforms, because 90% of our marketing is now on social media, right? It's not the traditional type of marketing anymore. Most media and most marketing is social now. It's on these digital platforms. And so the landscape of how we go to market, the landscape of how we do business has changed so much. If you think about the virtual nature of our businesses, whether that's email, right? Whether that's posting job postings on these virtual job boards, there's no more newspapers, there's no more, in person, people are working from home,
Yeah.
And you need savvy people technology-wise who are very familiar with these platforms, very familiar with software, spreadsheets, whatever it is from a virtual perspective, they've got to be pretty savvy nowadays.
And continuous learning should be a key component to a regular maintenance for every team. If you, like you just said, people need to be savvy and stay savvy with certain things. Even as the company owner, all these technologies that are coming out, all of these different apps, all the social stuff, I'm like, even though I need to know the fundamentals, there are always going to be opportunities for me to continue to learn. And you have to make sure that somebody on your staff knows what to do with that. We just had,
it's always changing
all the time. Every week
the algorithms are constantly changing. Everything's always changing, guys.
Yep.
And you need people who are on top of that.
We had AI training, like I said, a couple weeks ago, because I can see the tide turning in a lot of different areas. And some things we have learned would be more effective with a kiss of AI to assist with productivity and timelines with getting things done. Two of the young ladies on our team just took a creative writing class on Saturday. They had a funny story about the class not being exactly what they thought it would be, but things like that, creative writing. We are a team of people who are constantly communicating with clients, with media, with sponsors, with networks. So you have to stay sharp. No matter what you went to school for, you still have to stay sharp. You never met a chef who says, oh, I never learned anything from anybody. I just read the books and I just did that. No, you're trying things, trial and error. You're going to study abroad with the French. Then you go to Italy for 2 months. Continuing education is part of staying successful, staying fresh, and keeping yourself well-rounded. People can tell when your agency is a one-trick pony or when your service offering is a one-trick pony, because you never know anything above just the one or two things that you started talking about in the first place. So stay diverse through continuing education, and you will be very pleased that when you're in a conversation and they're talking about TikTok algorithms and social media, like you have something to say because you've done the homework and stayed learning.
The other thing I wanted to bring up, Clarissa, is budgets.
I
want to emphasize that barring hiring people overseas, that the cost of getting really great help has become definitely more expensive here in the States. And this goes back to managing your profit model, managing your profit and loss, managing and saving and having budgets around the income for your business, because it costs more than it used to, guys. To hire people to do some of the even most basic of tasks here in the United States, it has gotten pricey. We are living in a totally different time. And so guess what? It means that as a leader, you may be sacrificing your quality of life. You may be sacrificing your take-home pay to bring in these higher paid staff members who are qualified to do what you really need to get done. I have this conversation with other leaders and owners all the time, because it's going to be expensive to get that really great office manager. It's going to be expensive to get that operations manager who's really knows what they're doing. It's going to be expensive to hire a really great CFO to help you take things to the next level on the financial side of your business. There's a cost to getting really great people.
You have to I'm glad that you mentioned sometimes the people at the top have to take a hit in order to expand. It's really, I love when I hear corporations that are on the brink of going out of business and the higher ups cut their salaries in half to make sure that they don't have to let anybody go. A spirit-led leader, heart-led leaders, people like that, like myself, like Rebecca, it would break my heart to have to fire everybody just so I can stay going on trips and yachts. Like, that would be silly. Like that, I mean, to me, that sounds really silly. So usually when you're the last person, just like being a parent, just like being a caretaker, you're the last person to get thought about sometimes when it comes to, when you're working your business, everybody's end goal is to become wealthy or to become successful. But y'all, we are the last ones to really, we're the last ones to really start showing the true success, because you can't get your Louis Vuitton briefcase if you need an office manager. You just cannot get it this time. You want to upgrade at Mercedes, you got to stay with the Honda. And I love Hondas, but you can't get the upgrade right now, just because in 3 months you're going to be pissed that you spent that money when you really needed to bring somebody on, and that was 6 months worth of salary for them. So y'all, budget is real.
Sacrificing for growth, sacrificing for the sake of your business, and for the sake of the health of your business, and so that down the road it makes more money, right? That it does better down the road. I think one of the other things is that we have to trust ourselves as leaders, right? I think that when it comes to building great teams, realizing that the more you invest into your team members, the more you invest in training, the more you invest in their care, their growth, into their overall well-being, right? The better overall your company is going to perform, the better overall a client's experience is going to be. It all starts from the top down, guys. If you are an anxious leader, if you are stressed constantly, guess what? Your staff and your team are stressed and anxious. You bring that energy to your business. If you want, you know, a really, really amazing team, and you want to build winning teams for your business, it's going to start with the top, with you. Right? What energy are you bringing to your business? What mindset are you bringing to your business? You know, what type of spirit are you injecting into your business that is either going to be adding or subtracting from the overall well-being of your teams?
You have to be, being an effective leader also encompasses you being able to embrace failure. You have failed 1,000 times as an entrepreneur. So it is really unfair to think that there may not be, that there's no room for fails on behalf of the people on your team. If people on your team fail, they're paying very close attention to how you handle that crisis, that independent crisis with them. So are you the type of manager, owner, founder, visionary that blows up and like throws stuff against the wall when somebody makes a simple mistake? Or are you like, hey, what happened? Okay, look, now this thing got really messed up. How do you handle that? There's one time I started to get really good. Like, I'm talking about, the business was moving. I was still a solo entrepreneur, and y'all couldn't tell me anything. I had gotten all these great contacts, and I'm sitting there. I had a really great client too. This was one of my first like really great clients. Y'all, I sat there and emailed 50 people and left the wrong name in the copy and paste as I'm pitching these writers. Dear Rebecca, our client so-and-so is amazing. I copied and pasted and everything else was fixed, but the dear name was wrong on 50 straight emails. Oh my God. Okay, so now that was, I'm lying. The name was wrong, the outlet was wrong. So instead of me, I changed a couple of things, but forgot to change the name of the person and the outlet. So I'm emailing so-and-so at New York Times, saying in the thing, and we think our client would be a great fit for an LA Times feature. They'd be a great fit for a Forbes feature. And it's like, oh, okay. Not only, I mean, I was stunned. Like, I didn't know what to do. You can't recall all these emails. Somebody already opened them. You didn't mean to send this to me. Oh my God. One guy picked up the phone and called me. He said, look, I was terrified. He called me. He said, look, no, ma'am. I was like, so sorry. He said, I'm going to pass this along to the right person, and we're actually going to interview your client. But next time, look, the least you can do is get our name right. And I was like, I'm so sorry. I was so anxious and so excited about the new opportunities. So one of my staff members, years after I did that, she did the exact same thing. That's one of the biggest mistakes that we can make in our industry, but it happens all the time.
Because you're copying and pasting so
Yes,
much
because
to reach out to outlets to get your clients placed. I could see how that could happen.
We're pitching the same client. It's not like I'm pitching Rebecca here, Clarissa there, so-and-so there.
No, it's like we're going to send Rebecca and her new book out to 50 outlets between TV shows, magazines, and everything. We're just copying and pasting to send this out, the media kit out.
Yes. My staff member, I'm sitting across from her. We're quietly working, and all of a sudden she gets up and starts packing up her bag. And she's packing up all her stuff. And I'm like, what's going on? And she said, I just sent out 10 emails to the wrong people, and Essence Magazine emailed me back and said they're deleting me from the database. She was packing her bag. She thought she was fired. And I started laughing. I said, look, it happens to the best of us, and it still happens. It still happens. Whitney just said it gives you 10 seconds to unsend. Yes, it probably does, girl, but I have already sent 50.
Touch it. You don't even know you're doing it.
Okay, and then AYS Personal Assistant, CRM prevents that. I did not have the budget at that time to afford a CRM for the company. Yeah, a CRM, guys, is a database that keeps clients' names, email addresses, physical addresses, phone numbers, and you can automate emails and stuff to go out. So it plugs in the proper name, all the proper information. But this was before that. I was sitting here organically emailing one at a time. So you have to be able to embrace failure, because I didn't quit the business just because I did that. I woke up the next day and apologized. Well, actually that day I sent out apologies with like $5 Starbucks cards to people, and just was I was like, look, guys, I was so excited to find your contact, blah, blah, blah. And some people laughed, some people invited me to lunch, and other people never responded. But the big point is, mistakes will happen, and if you allow people on your team to make mistakes and continue to move forward, they get better like you got better, and they are much more paying closer attention to detail moving forward, because they don't ever want to mess up like that again. So embrace it.
So true.
Yes.
So true. Gumby Does BJJ says, I think I'm learning sales first and then business. Your scholarship for the work class, master class, has helped me so much. I feel way more confident to start a sales career, not being timid. That is absolutely awesome, love. I'm so excited to hear that for you. Sales is such a huge part of any business, guys.
Yeah.
It is literally part of, like, it is the backbone of any business. If you are not constantly getting new clients to replace people who fall off, your business is going to fail. So sales is huge. And like you said, Clarissa, being flexible, understanding that people are human, we're not robots, is absolutely crucial. Definitely incorporating AI that you're mentioning is becoming just, it's a thing. It's not going anywhere, guys. This is real. It's here to stay. Might as well incorporate it, learn how to use it. Taryn says, corporate America has made me anxious and stressed. Can't bring that energy to my own company. Amen. I mean, Clarissa, back to what you said about failure. I know for me in this last 2 to 3 years, I feel like I've gone through a failing season, if that makes sense, a series of what has felt like losses, things that did not work the way I thought it would work. And as I went through those failures and those lessons, one of the things that I've taken away from this, guys, is recognizing that everything is not for you. Like, you can have good ideas, but just because you see other people doing it or other companies doing it doesn't mean that it's a fit for your business model. I would say do more care and more research when it comes to the SWOT analysis that we've covered in one of our episodes about whether or not, I know I can tend to be very idealistic, Clarissa. I can get these ideas, and in my mind, I see it going this idealistic, wonderful way without any pitfalls or obstacles, and we're just going to kill it, and it's going to be amazing.
Yes.
And then you launch and you're like, the hell? What?
Yeah.
What I thought it would be, right? And I haven't, and to be honest, I haven't had a lot of that, Clarissa. I would say that I have tended to stay so in connection with Holy Spirit as a spiritual CEO that I've had way more wins
Yeah.
than losses.
Yep.
And that can also be misleading in and of itself, because when you're so used to winning,
Yeah.
losses are harder to take.
They feel really hard. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so in this recovery season I've been in from feeling like I've had these losses, I would say that having the right people around you is absolutely crucial, especially when things don't work as planned. One of my coaches said to me last week, I was talking to her about a program and revamping my new coaching certification in spiritual leadership. And she said, Rebecca, we need you to move forward from here from a place of confidence and boldness,
Yeah.
because everything that's gone on in the last couple of years is serving you to get you to where you're at now. And those of us who truly know you and know you personally, believe in you and trust your leadership for this next chapter, this next step. And she's been with me for several years, and that conversation, Clarissa, from someone who has been there being loyal,
Yes.
right, through all the kinds of ups and downs and the growth of things and the falling off of others. And it's really important to have the right people around us. I think as leaders, we can also underestimate how much we need support.
Of course.
Clarissa.
Well, because yeah, and it's difficult to sometimes you don't even know that you need support. Then other times when you know that you need support, it's difficult to find people who understand the type of support you need. Because when it's people that don't understand your industry or the level of stress that comes with being a CEO, they say, you'll be okay, girl. And they keep it moving. And you're like, no, I am in a crisis. I don't want to hear, I don't want to hear that positive two-liner and you keep it moving. I am stressed out. That's why places like this, CEO Sister Society, serve a purpose, because it's my friends like you. It's my friends like the other people who understand what it's like to run a business, to fail, to lose money, to make bad investments, to hire the wrong people, to help you through those things and say, girl, you know what? You cry today. Let's go to lunch. Cry, be mad, and move on tomorrow and be better. There's
Get up, start over tomorrow.
right.
Tomorrow's a new
That's
day.
right.
Doesn't matter how much money you lost doing that and it didn't pan out and it didn't work the way you thought. Okay, back to the drawing board. Let's go.
That's right.
And you need people around you, even including team members who know you, love you, support you, right? To be able. Someone says, do you believe in the barter business, the barter system, or bartering? That's AYS, personal assistant. I was about to just say
Very
no.
rare.
But very rarely, I like to pay for my services. I like to pay for consultants, contractors, staff. I like to pay for the job to get done right. I don't have any currently volunteers in my business. I have just found that bartering doesn't work very well for me. I don't know about you, Clarissa.
Very rarely, very, very rarely. And I'll say that because for me now, it has to be positively impactful for my whole team for me to do any type of bartering. We did have a client who was not able to be on retainer. And I'm saying this very, very rarely, guys. So look, don't tell your friends that I'm going to be bartering, because I very rarely. But she happened to be part of a medical corporation that was doing some really interesting studies that several of the people on my team were interested in. So it's like, we have all literally mentioned it was in the beauty industry. And we're like, okay, we all want to try that thing. Okay, let's our whole staff come and do that thing for 3 months, and we'll see what we can do for you over here. Let's see how the money works out. So but for me now, I don't need any other person's service that bad to where I'm going to do and put a bunch of stuff on my team for free. So it has to be beneficial for my staff and make sense for me. So very rarely. I mean, 1%.
I struggle in certain situations because my stuff is already so high ticket that by the time you barter,
You owe me
it's not always gonna be fair to me
you owe me a
to
big
barter.
barter. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna be doing way too much, not getting paid,
Yeah.
and someone else could have been in that position, or a client could have been. It's too
Yeah.
involved. You know, what I do is way too involved. It's not light work. It's deep. You know, it's a lot of moving parts and pieces to marketing, to branding, to life coaching, to course creation, to retreat. You know, creating retreats. Anything that I'm gonna be helping someone to do in my neck of the woods, in my industry and my skill set, it's very, you know, detailed.
Yeah.
So it's hard to barter for that kind of stuff.
Gumby does BJJ. She just asked, or he just asked, I'm sorry. In sales, do business owners like you both hire salespeople on contract? In other words, can I be hired for multiple owners and run that as my business? Yes. That is a very smart business model. It's very popular. It's becoming more popular. So if you are trying to throw your hat in the ring with people, you can literally, you're a high functioning consultant to the company in whatever capacity that is. So the answer to the question is yes. We do that. I've hired Cassie, Rebecca has, and other people like us
Yeah.
are looking for the same thing.
I even I've done a lot of bonus structure to where some of my staff members team members who want to take on
Yeah.
Sales and marketing roles, they will get bonuses if they close someone, if something gets referred.
Yeah.
We're getting ready to launch an affiliate marketing program, right? But yeah, we give out bonuses when someone closes. You know, they do a consultation, someone books a call to find out more about certification, and that person, that staff member who actually took that question and answered that person's questions, they're going to get a bonus.
Yeah.
You know, if that person signs up. Yeah, so definitely Gumby does BJJ. It's definitely a real thing. Hiring out, so outsourcing your sales and marketing is a very, very real thing. And I know the media team I hired prior to the one I have now, they actually had team sales people you could hire for sales. What is it called in your inbox? Inbox sales, like the direct messaging sales, where you're selling. That's what you're getting. I don't know, for those of you who get all those emails in your direct messaging, your inbox, where they're trying to sell you stuff, and that's what they're doing. That they are part of, you know, sales teams where they're getting paid to close leads and to close people from that cold type of inbox messaging and emails and stuff. So yeah, it's a very, very real thing.
Yep. Good business model. So keep building on that, because it is out there and it is effective.
Definitely. All right, Clarissa, we are wrapping up on time. Any last words, any last thoughts?
This was a wonderful subject. I like talking about teams. I like talking about the inner workings of these businesses. So guys, if you like these types of conversations, definitely tell us so we can keep these going and maybe do some Q&As down the line. We love answering questions as well. So if you don't follow me already, I encourage you to go over to my page, check out my link tree. We offer a number of different services in the PR realm for helping to grow your business, helping to put your business out to your consumers for the first time, and a bunch of other advanced programs, even including how to build your own PR agency. So follow me over there. And also the link to our newsletter for CEO Sister Society is in both of our bio, so follow us there too.
Lovely. Thank you, Clarissa. And make sure you follow Clarissa on her personal page as well, to make sure you stay connected with her and everything she's doing over in the PR world. I have a brand new course with my husband coming out this week called Foundations for Forever. It is a premarital coaching course. It's going to be a master class, an 8-week-long course. Carrie and I haven't done this for years. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be a premarital masterclass for those of you who know that you couples and singles who need to work on premarital stuff before you get married. So that's going to be really, really great. And my new spiritual leadership and coaching master certification is coming out as well. So stay tuned for that also. And don't forget to subscribe and follow me on YouTube, because I'm a YouTuber. That's where I live and breathe and have my being, is over on YouTube. I love you guys. We are so excited for CEO Sister Society and everything we're doing here. So stay tuned for some more projects from me and Clarissa. But anyway, we love you guys. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for all your great questions. We appreciate you all so much, and we will see you next week. Talk to you soon. Bye, guys.